Wow. Hey, well, welcome to the July the 9th work session of the Elizabethtown City Council. Mr. Thomas, would you like to open with prayer?
I will. Let us pray. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day. Thank you for this community. Thank you for the many blessings that we enjoy in this community. Thankful for the employees that work so hard to make this city a great place. Volunteers that also help to make this a great place. Heavenly Father, we ask that you be with Councilman Fulkerson today and his people running the Hardin County Fair. May they have a safe and successful event. Heavenly Father, we ask that you be with us during this meeting, that the decisions we make will be pleasing to thine eyes. These things we ask today and every day in the holy name. Amen.
Amen. Join us in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, good evening, Mr. Bennett.
Long day, boring story.
All right, good. We don't have time to hear it. I'm sorry. Tonight, a couple of we on the council have planned to attend the event at the fair tonight, farm to table, and so we will have to leave. And when we do, you will still have 3 council members here, but so we might go like this. Krista, you're first up.
Hello, and I'll make it quick. How about that? Just wanted to give you a few updates since we have a second Saturday going on this Saturday. You'll be seeing, or if you haven't already seen it on Facebook, we've got Show Your Love for Downtown going on this month for second Saturday, where we're encouraging folks to take a selfie at their favorite spot downtown and post it to the second Saturday Facebook page. If you remember, downtown was a finalist in the News Enterprise Reader's Choice Award, so I'm hoping maybe we can push it and become, the winner this year. But as they do that, that's how they enter to win the Downtown Merchant gift cards worth $50. And we have 3 merchant sponsors that will be giving away gift cards, and that's Swanky Shop, DJs, and Flywheel. And there's lots of things going on for the second Saturday. Kids yoga at Karma Yoga and Hot Yoga Studios will be going on, and you have those times available in front of you for that. It's $10 per child. Karma also asked us if Juanita's Taco Truck could set up for a gathering of their teachers and staffs, and Sarah and I have been in conversations with that, and we've made the necessary arrangements for that. But just to give you a heads up on that. DJ's Antiques, they're going to be open 10 to 6, and they have a one-day sale, 50% off DJ's items in the back room, unless marked otherwise. To the Nines will have 30% off store-wide. Exclusions will apply. And then this Saturday is also big for the Historic State Theater. Impel Aries is sponsoring the Lego Batman movie at 2 p.m., and it's a second Saturday movie, so it's $1 or free with the receipt from a downtown merchant dated on that Saturday. Batman will be available if you would like to have your picture with Batman. He will be there in case you need to bring the grandkids out for that. And then also later that evening, they have the Red Mexican Tour that's also going to be going on at 8 o'clock at the State Theater, and tickets are still available for that as well. Also this weekend at Bourbon Barrel Tavern, Friday, July 13th, they have Kevin Jaggers at BBT starting at 8. And then Saturday, they have a free outdoor concert that they're going to be doing. And that's going to be, it's very similar to the setup that they had the Friday eve of BBB Fest, but they have Kentucky Dirt Band playing at 8 p.m. outdoors, and then they also have Kanan Cox will be featured inside. Ruben Stelly will be on site as well. It's also a big weekend going on at Flywheel. Friday night, they have a concert going on at 8 p.m., and it's Groove Canoe with special guest Craig James and the Comers. And then Saturday, they have their food truck vendor, the Q Crew, available. And then Sunday, July 15th, they have an event going on, Best Buds and Brews, and 15% of the sales will be donated to the Friends of the Hardin County Animal Shelter, and they'll have free face painting and coloring for the kids from 1 to 5. So lots of things to do this second Saturday. And also to give you an update on the walking tour, the hot weather has not kept the crowds away this year. And I think DD and Tony can agree on that. The first night, of course, was also Charlie Ski's Day. And there was a count of 189 for that one night. And so just for June alone, we had 376 that came through. Last week, which was July 5th, with the huge heat index, we really thought we weren't going to have a crowd. Tim counted 91. So that brings us to 467 folks already that have visited downtown on the walking tour. And they've come from Florida, Alabama, Oklahoma, Indiana, Arkansas, and Texas. And I'm sure we've out a few more, but just wanted to give you guys a quick update on that because it's really been great on Thursday night seeing those crowds just continue to want to come out for the walking tour and brave the heat. So that's all I have unless you have questions.
Thank you, Krista. I can't believe anybody would say there's nothing to do in E-Town.
Exactly. There's a ton.
Just
So
a lot of stuff.
thank you.
Thank you. Deborah Norris. Okay, did I maybe get that name wrong? Okay, we'll move along then to Stephen Sewell.
I'm Stephen Sewell with Palmer Engineering. I guess about probably about a year ago, 8 months ago, we were hired to design 3 bridges out at Freeman Lake, the pedestrian bridges that are currently wooden bridges. I brought a couple little displays here that we can kind of shows where they are. There's 2 up front on the holding ponds and then 1 back in the woods, kind of back in the back of the off to the side in the trees. That are the 3 locations that we looked at. What we have designed for these, this is a rendering. I didn't flip that around when we did it. But this is a rendering of what one of them would look like. Obviously, this has everything in it that if you're going to do it and unlimited funding and money was no issue, you could do the plantings, the rocks, the decorative, all those features. So we are looking, they're wooden bridges today. I'm sure you all know this, that have 2 telephone poles underneath it with decking on top that have been there for several years and are starting to see some wear and tear and some issues there. So what we're proposing to put back is a steel prefab bridge. It would be weathered steel, so that would be kind of limit the maintenance that you all would have. There's no painting or anything of that nature that you have to do ever so often. And it kind of blends into the surroundings there with the weathered look. Also, they are going to be 12 foot wide, which gives you 10 foot of usable walking space across. So plenty of room for people to stand there and fish off the edge, and people still able to get by on bikes or walking or whatever brings them to the lake area of the park. They will meet ADA requirements on each end. Today, there's some issues at the end, whether that meets ADA. These will flatten out the areas on each end so that they meet the 5% ADA requirements that you have. And they're about 50 feet long is what they will be. Each bridge, we designed them the same so that you could get a better price. That way they're only fabricating one type of bridge, which should help with cost and the contractor also. That will be socketed into rock, so they're not going anywhere. Rock's about, a couple of them 6 feet, all the way up to 14 feet deep. So not super deep, but it will be set in rock. And the abutments we will do decorative. Now there are some columns here that we are probably, whether we have enough funding to do that. The goal is just to get the bridges in and then look at the aesthetics later on. But the intent is to bid it later this year. I know we have a limited amount of funds, so deciding how we're going to use those funds best. There's some options there. One would be just to do the bridges and then try to look at flattening the slopes for the ADA requirements with either city forces, local forces, or waiting until extra funds are available. But the intent is to bid 2 bridges. I think you could do 2 bridges up front. That way you can have a loop there, or you could look at doing just the 1 bridge back in the corner. That would also give you a complete loop that for people to use it. Those are two options that I guess I'll present to you all as to see how you want to proceed. Any questions? That's kind of the, when I say the two fronts, I talk about bridge 1 and 2. If you just do the bridges, that's about, based on our estimates, and we're being conservative on this, is about 200,000. The way we would structure it is we would probably ask the contractors to bid the whole package and then provide some deductible alternates underneath there. So if we don't, we could take out the trail portion so that wouldn't be included in the bids, or a whole bridge.
So rough estimates from you think each bridge will be about 100,000?
I think it's a little over 100 for, like this one comes out to be about 120,000. This one's a little more. So that's with everything. That's with aesthetics and everything is about 120. I think one of them was 130. This one back in the woods was a little more expensive just because of realigning some of the asphalt trail back there to make it, right now it's really steep, making that a little more aesthetically pleasing.
Are all bridges the same length and width?
All bridges are the same length and width. We did out to out. So this, from the outside of the rails to the outside is 12 feet, but inside is right at 10 feet. And they're all 50-foot spans.
I'd remind the council that when we started this project a year ago, we had discussions with both the Tourism and Convention Bureau and Green Space. Both of those groups had a representative on the design committee with the city staff and worked with Stephen and his team from Palmer as we went through a couple design meetings. So, and there are commitments from Green Space and the Tourism Bureau to help in the funding of things, but based on the preliminary estimates at this time, that's why Stevens presented some potential deducts or alternate ideas as we bid it to be concerned about that cost as we move ahead. And that'll be one of the things that we'll just have to, I think, as those three groups, we'll just have to evaluate together and bring back to the council ultimately for approval on your all's commitment. I mean, you all did put money in the budget for the project, so that's why we're going to go ahead with the bids and see what the numbers are so we can present it to you all. But before we did that, we wanted you all to see what they were going to look like and know the efforts that they put in to try to standardize things as much, so we thought we could get better prices out of everything.
Will you be able in your bids to separate the installation per bridge out?
Yeah, I have a line item.
We just wanted to get the bridges here and get them landed and then maybe decide then to rebid the installation of the bridge, or maybe even do it in-house.
That would be an option. We could, as far as material, as far as just the bridge cost, that we know. We've talked to there's pretty much two fabricators. There's Contact and Big R are the two bridges in this area. There's probably one more that you might get them from Tennessee, but those are pretty much the two people that bid everything in this area. We have worked with them, and we know a fabrication price of what it would cost just to buy the bridges, get them shipped here, and put them in your all's a maintenance lot or someplace like that, or out at the park. The cost is doing the abutments, drilling the shafts into the rock, pouring the concrete for the abutments underneath the bridge. That is the cost. That we've done enough bridges that we feel pretty good about those costs. But sometimes contractors, when they're hungry, they come in a little cheaper, and when
we haven't found any hungry in a while.
So that's the variable that you don't know is how. One thing I will say, I don't think I forgot to mention, is we did look at the flood elevation of the pond, the spillway, and the bridges are set higher than what the ones today are. just as, so water doesn't ever get up on them. Really, actually, water will probably, I would be shocked if it ever got to the bridges. So there's no danger of any, these things will last for
I think
75 years.
suggestion would be, in the bid process, be as specific as you can and with breakouts when you can, so we can try to make the best decision we can.
Right. And that's what we can break that down as
Okay.
detailed as we want to get.
When the bids are put out, will it be as a package deal for both or each bridge will be individual?
We'll probably do it both ways. What we'll do is we'll do a package deal where their base bid includes doing both bridges, doing the trail, doing all the work. And then underneath that, we'll break it out into, what if we just do one bridge? Okay, well, how much does that, what comes off of that cost? What if we do, both just bridges, no trail work or anything like that? What would that, we can separate it out so that we can take that base number and then subtract this off, and subtract.
Reason I said that, I'm just assuming it might be cheaper to do both at the same time.
It will be cheaper to do both. I mean, I would be shocked if it's not, but everything is always that way.
It remind me, did we budget for 2 or 3 bridges, or was it fungible that we just divided among the 3?
What you all did is you put just a number in the budget for a total price. Then we have the funding from tourism and from green space. And like I said, based on what the number is, I mean, we might be able to do both of them based on pooling all that funding together. We may have to look at it and say there's enough, as we said, there's enough funding just to do one installation, and maybe we just purchase the other 2 bridges and install them at another time. But in your all's current budget, there was enough money based on the estimate from Palmer to do a bridge. If the numbers come in based on the estimates.
I thought we did say we just had to just to purchase.
Yeah, I mean, that was a discussion that we may bid it and just purchase the materials at this time and look at installation at
Because we
another
have no
time.
idea of, the uncertainties of the cost.
But as Stephen points out, I mean, that's the reason to bid it that way, again, so you all can make an informed decision on that.
Thank you, Steve. Mr. Barnes? And I got to tell you, Mr. Barnes, you're filling some mighty big shoes.
Uh-huh.
Well, I can't get rid of it.
Oh, man, you never get rid of Mr. Rucker.
All right, so my name is Damon Barnes, and I am now the president of Green Space. Aaron is still vice president, so he's still with us, like I said. Just real quick, I'm a LaRue County native. I grew up in the area. I'm a lifelong trail user. I mountain bike, I hike, I do triathlons. I mean, if you can do something on a trail, I do it. So I'm really passionate about it. I'm passionate about animals. I keep a wide variety of animals at my house. So just a little bit about me. So just real quick, I just kind of wanted to establish some communications between our groups. I know that Matt is here at almost every, if not every, city council meeting. So if I'm not here, you can always speak with Matt. But I would like to start coming to probably at least quarterly, if not monthly meetings, just to be here. I may not even have anything to talk about, but just to be here if anyone has any questions, if stuff comes up like this and you have questions about Green Space's involvement. And I will give my contact info to Ed, or he already has it, and anyone can at any time contact me. But so just recently, some things we've accomplished. We've had the Wild and Scenic Film Festival. How much do we raise exactly, Matt? Yeah, we raised $34,000 with that, which that all went to, or that's all going to our Bridges to Nature project, which that's the intention is to do the funding that Ed spoke about just a second ago. But so, and then we have future endeavors and future ideas to start coming up with more and more funding for that Bridges to Nature project, because just like y'all, we would like to see, at a point, all 3 of these bridges built. I don't know how much everyone gets on the trails, but some of these, especially the one in the woods, it's in rough shape. It's kind of scary every time you go over it. But so that was what the Wild and Scenic Film Festival was for. We've thrown out ideas about races, triathlons, things like that to help raise more money from Green Space's end on the funding of what we're calling the Bridges to Nature project. Just real quick, we had an employee for many years. It was a lot of headache. And we decided to look for a different solution. And we actually now contract out all our mowing. And we've been using a lot of volunteers. And we've been really active on social media, trying to get volunteers out to help do some of the stuff that the mowing doesn't cover. So, I mean, the mowing covers, you know, the trails that 90% of the population is on. But those other 10% or certain sections of the trails, you actually need to get there with your hands, you know, and clear out things that way. So we've used volunteers for that. Or when flooding comes in and our bridges get damaged, the wooden bridges that are all throughout the Greenbelt, we're using volunteers, or more often than not, board members are grabbing some volunteers or grabbing each other, and we're making those repairs that way. So just so everyone knows where we're at, but it's worked really well. We're at a year at that. Did you have a question? Okay. And in addition to these bridges, we've actually been replacing some bridges ourselves. I don't know if you're familiar with what's called Girard Lane, but it's about 2-ish miles into Freeman Lake Trail. And there was a bridge there that was in really, really rough shape. And we partnered with a gentleman named Dick Bell, and we've replaced that bridge. It's really, really, really sturdy. It's a real nice bridge. I believe it's ADA compliant itself. Where the Cardinal Creek Preserve, the new project out at the government building, where that's going, where it will connect to the Green Space Trail that's existing. Mr. Bell also built a bridge out there. It's just been kind of sitting there waiting for someone to use it. So then some projects other than that we have going on. We've been updating our kiosks. We're going to try to keep them real nice, current, new, try to make sure the old stuff isn't in there. And then the one thing that we've been working on a lot, and that I wanted to show you real quick, was there's been complaints that people don't always know where to go on our trails, or where's a big, nice map, or your map's really outdated. Or there's this trail that's a 1/4 mile long, and I don't really want to go just to a 1/4 mile, but they don't realize you just have to go through this neighborhood for, 500 yards, and you're at another trail that's 2 miles. So we wanted to show connectivity between our trails. So we partnered with a company, Straub Design, that has been doing new maps for us. So we actually have, these versions right here for Freeman Lake are going in, some area businesses have asked for them, but we have much bigger versions that are going to go in the main kiosk at Freeman. But you'll see, it just kind of tells you things that are close. There's mile markers on here, it shows where the tennis court is. And then right here, it'll show where you can go to the John Helm Trail, which is the trail that goes to the Roses parking lot. And then, up here it says to the Nature Park trails. We've actually got, Aaron can help me real quick. This one's rather large. So there's a lot of trails over off St. John's Road, that area, the new Cardinal Creek. And this is what I was kind of talking about with the, yeah, I can't even do anything.
This map basically shows the new Cardinal Shaw Preserve that we're getting ready to open up, as well as the Bantam Shaw Trail. That's the trail that comes out near the tennis courts at ECC and goes all the way up to Patriot Parkway, as well as the Briarwood Forest Trail, and then Billy Creek, which goes all the way down to Carroll Soccer Field. So that's what a lot of people ask, is how to connect all these systems together using neighborhoods and sidewalks. And that's what our new maps are going to show. Just like you can see on the legend, the blue dotted lines are non-green space connector options. Like this is Deerfield Hill subdivision, which has walking trails through it. You can get off right at this trail, use those walking trails to hit another trailhead. So this is kind of an example.
Where are these going to be?
Yeah.
These maps?
Yeah.
Every one of these trailheads.
Yeah, they'll be a little, they won't be on this material. This was the sample. It was, for some reason, it was cheaper to print this than paper. But
yeah, we wanted to get a sample just to see the size before we.
The actual maps that are on the kiosk are a metal material, and they'll be on the outside of the kiosk. We're going to have every kiosk at Freeman Lake will have the Freeman Lake Trail. All these kiosks will have this trail because, like I said, a lot of these are fairly short trails. And we just thought it made a lot of sense to show this connectivity because people that know it, like myself and Aaron, you know, Aaron and I do about a 25-mile bike ride that takes the entire Greenbelt, and you don't have to do very many
When
roads.
you're probably on 75% trail and 25% concrete. If you know what you're doing, that's what a lot of
And the
people
public,
ask.
you know, ask those questions, but we've never had a good way to show them. So we're going to have big one of these. We'll also have smaller of these available for businesses, and eventually more pamphlet size that we can give out.
You gonna have them all out to hotels as well?
Yes, once we get, we're just kind of hitting up businesses. Hey, would you like to put this up? I know that the bike shops and running soles have asked for this one already. I believe Fly will ask for one of these. So we're just going to start trying to make this more available and really show what we have in E-Town. Because I don't know if everyone quite
I
knows.
kind of modeled this up. If you've ever been up to the Parklands in Louisville, where they kind of, their maps kind of show each park and shows how they're connected. And that's kind of where we got this model from. Because we were looking at doing just a map on each trail, but instead of doing that, this overall map will go at each trailhead, so you'll be able to see what.
That's awesome. I got to tell you, all of you, Matt, Aaron, Damon, oh my gosh, you all are volunteers. And when you say, you know, people come and say, you know, you don't have a map or you should do this, you should do that. I can't believe that anybody would even, you know, you all are volunteers and what you've done is absolutely amazing. And we appreciate it
Thank you.
so much.
Damon, get down in the
So
floor with
much.
that, do it the right way.
One thing I learned no matter what you do, you can't please everybody. and
Ain't it the
sometimes I wear
truth?
my feelings on my sleeves,
Yeah.
so.
But you guys go over and above and we really appreciate it.
It's good to see y'all carrying the Sprague's legacy.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah.
And a couple other just real quick things. The other things we're looking to do is there's a section of trail called the Wintersmith Trail. And Ed knows for sure, we've tried to, the trail's not complete. You have to leave the trail and then rejoin it. And I've been speaking with the local attorney to try to get a formal presentation to the landowner. And we're really, really trying to complete that trail this year. And I think we're getting a lot closer. And then Buffalo Lake. I know y'all are familiar with the dirt that was taken out of Buffalo, left a really big area, which, you know, no one likes to see that. But I think it actually has done well. It has raised the public's awareness that, you know, we need to work on these trails and help to preserve them. And we've gotten, Buffalo Lake, we've added some trails to it. We've added some mileage to it. We've done some reroutes around where that area happened. We've gotten people from local bike clubs are really, really involved recently. Like this gentleman beside Aaron is David Haynes. He's representative of Kimba. And then Jeff Proctor, the CKW president, Central Kentucky Wheelman, he's been involved, or Central Kentucky Wheelman been involved a lot. And so we're really looking to trying to formalize our agreement, Green Spaces agreement with the city regarding the use of Buffalo, to just so, you know, for future, so we don't have to worry about things like that. And also with this new presence, so there was a lot of homeless people that were at Buffalo. There were a lot of people that used to be at Buffalo Lake. I've been going to it for years. There'd be people there that were obviously using drugs, if not meaning to sell drugs. And I know that there's future plans to put a pedestrian trail through Buffalo Lake. And this early seeds of getting the right kind of traffic, the traffic we want to see, I haven't seen any of that in months. And I've went to Buffalo for a long time because it's a more rugged trail and it's a lot more conducive to trail running and mountain biking. I know that the running store has taken people there since he's moved downtown. I know that the Central Kentucky Wheelmen have a Thursday night ride that goes through there. And that kind of sparked all these groups to, you know, let's see what we can do. And also an adjoining landowner, someone who has land adjoining Buffalo, has contacted Green Space and is like, hey, I'm interested in you expanding trails onto my land so we can connect the Buffalo Lake trails to them. So then we could start getting the type of mileage that'll get mountain bikers, especially, E-Town's uniquely situated between two of the best mountain biking places in the country, down in Tennessee just all around Chattanooga, Knoxville, those areas, and then Brown County, Indiana. Brown County, Indiana is one of the best mountain biking places. And you pretty much have to go through E-Town to get to them. And once we start getting that mileage where someone can get an hour ride in, they're going to stop, stay at the hotel, and make that part of their trip. I personally go to Florida, and we stop halfway through at Oak Mountain in Birmingham, Alabama. And the only reason we stop there is because we can get an extra day of mountain biking in. So that's pretty much all I have. If anyone has any questions, like I said, Ed has all my contact info, and I plan to be at least quarterly, hopefully monthly meetings, and I'll probably just be sitting beside Matt, and you can look at me too. So
Then you'll be safe.
so thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much.
No problem.
You guys have anything?
I'll save my airport report until next week. How about
Great.
that?
Okay, good night, and thank you for joining us.
All right. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good, okay.